What's up, guys? Today is a fish store tour. This fish store is closest to me. This is kind of like one of my go-to fish stores. It's around 17 miles from my house. They do have reptiles, so I want to forewarn all my subscribers. There will be video of reptiles, but we're mainly going to showcase fish because, let's be honest, they're just that much cooler. So here we are walking in, and yes, they do have dogs. It's absolutely amazing. I love it when pet stores have dogs. It just gives it that roomy, at-home type of atmosphere. We have a little planted tank here by the cashier checkout, and right on your left, this is the biggest tank in the store. It is a 180, and they usually have some big cichlids. This is my favorite part in the entire store. You just saw some beautiful Viejas, Vieja, however you want to pronounce it. I'm hoping to bring these home in a couple of months. These things are absolutely huge. I just don't have the room for them right now, but I gotta get my hands on these. To your right here, we have some Matoro Stingrays. It looks like some smaller ones. And I'm just kind of gonna walk you through some of the tanks, and you gotta know that within some time, these tank setups can change, and I guess I'm just going to explain to you like what I like about the store and what's cool. And that looks like a cool little planted tank. What I like about Fins and Friends is they're really big on planted tanks. And even though I'm not a big plant guy, I understand the importance of live plants in aquariums. And we have some betas showcasing here in some jars. Gotta love some betas. They usually have a lot more, but maybe they just had a sale on them. Betas are actually pretty popular here in Minnesota, so you do see a lot of people buying them. All right, moving on here to the right, we have some 33 longs. This is kind of a new addition since I've been in this store. It's kind of a more rare tank. A lot of people are obsessed with them. And they have the Fat Boy, the 50-gallon Fat Boy series that everyone is also talking about. These are really popular frag tanks, and I think they use them in the reptile industry too. I'm not sure. Anyways, these look to be like dark water shrimp / planted stratum tanks. These are becoming super popular, and I foresee them, shrimp. I foresee shrimp tanks being like the next biggest thing in the aquarium industry, just because they're super colorful. You can have small tanks in like apartments. If you live in Chicago, it doesn't mean you can't have multiple small tanks and still have them be completely awesome. And they're super vibrant in coloration, and they breed like crazy. And fish stores are really apt to give you trade-in value for good quality shrimp, and they breed easy. There's so many cool things going for shrimp, and it's inevitable that they're just going to continue to rise in popularity because it's been happening. But absolutely love these tanks. The stratum is a little expensive. It is somewhat expensive to get those tanks going, but once you get it going, they're absolutely awesome. Moving on. They have a bunch of tanks. There's like probably 60 tanks. They have a couple aisles of a bunch of 20 talls and 40 breeders. And for the most part, they have just like general community fish like barbs, tetras. I really like it because it's smart in a sense of a fish store, because a bunch of these aisles of tanks, you could keep all the fish together, and it's just good business. Because if you're trying to sell, like I'm a predator fish guy, but I understand as owning a fish store, like if you sell an Oscar fish, you're not going, it's a $14 fish, and you can only have like one in a tank because it tries to kill everything. Whereas when they're selling these community fish, you can stack a tank full of so many different kinds of fish, tetras, barbs, just all kinds of mollies, live bears, goldfish, gouramis. But what I love most about Fins and Friends is just the at-home atmosphere. And I know this is kind of corny, but it's so true. Like when you walk into your fish store, or your pet store, essentially, like if they know you by name and they're like, hey, what's up, how's life, they follow you on Facebook, your friends, like there's dogs running around. You can talk. Whenever I come in Fins and Friends, I'm always whining about my daughter, that life's tough, it's a struggle, but and they know the struggle, and it's just part of the atmosphere that you fall in love with, and you'll run into friends while you're at the place, because you're like, oh, hey, what's up, Joey, I don't know, it's kind of corny, but that's really important when it comes to like a pet store, because like you could go, people go there on weeknights just to kind of hang out and look at all the stuff, play with the dogs. They have like 3 to 5 dogs running around. It's just a really cool atmosphere. Absolutely love it. This is actually one of their cichlid aisles here. Got a bunch of Africans. I mainly spend most of my time in this aisle. I personally am always trying to keep an eye out for the surrendered fish that people bring in. Like in that tank right there, there's some blood parrots, a larger size green tear that I actually tried to buy, but someone else, it had already sold. That's really common around here because, there's not a lot of pet stores. Like I said, this is my local fish store and it's 17 miles away from me, but the next one is probably like 40 to 50 miles away from me. And we have some cool cichlids there. I'm not sure. I can't. Those look to be rainbow cichlids in there, maybe black belt cichlids. It's they don't have a ton of cichlids, and I sometimes complain about that a little bit, but I understand. Like I went back. African cichlids kill each other, and on paper, they're not a good fish to sell, essentially, unless that's all you do. Then it's hard to stay open because you're only catering to African cichlids. Same with other South Americans sometimes, and they also do have saltwater. So if you're wondering if they have saltwater, there's not as many salt tanks as there is fresh, but that's only because it's not as big here in Minnesota. And the fish are extremely expensive. But salt still is very cool. You guys know my channel is pretty much strictly freshwater, but I do love some saltwater. Don't get me wrong. And now I'm going to show you the reptile side. I know all of you fish keepers, subscribers, just hang on with me here. I don't know really anything about reptiles, guys. But I do know that it was a great idea for this local pet store to essentially also do fish and reptiles because, a lot of fish stores shut down because when they have a slow month selling fish, they essentially can't make the rent payment. But by adapting and also selling reptiles, they're bringing 2 industries into one store, and it's super effective. I don't like the fact that they have reptiles because I'm a fish geek, but I understand, I watch the people come in, and I'm almost certain that they get maybe twice the foot traffic and sales in reptiles than they actually do in fish. It breaks my heart, but it's just the truth of it. I think reptiles are more popular in Minnesota. I'll be spending like an hour looking at fish and trying to decide what fish I'm gonna buy. And multiple people will come in to buy feeder mice, feeder crickets, super worms. It's gotta be a good business to go into. And I think they have maybe more reptile enclosures than they do fish tanks. I'm gonna complain to Kaylee about that, but I'm a fish guy at heart. All you guys know that. But maybe it's a good idea if you're thinking about opening a fish store. Maybe you also do reptiles. So gotta love the dogs running around. I absolutely love it. These guys are so friendly. And what's cool is I bring my dog in here once in a while too, and it plays with the other dogs. Other people bring their dogs. It's just, I absolutely love this atmosphere here at Fins and Friends. Give this video a thumbs up for local fish stores and let me know what you think.